Okay, so welcome to the deep dive. Today, we are diving into 12 really practical ideas for making life better.
Yeah.
It's like a distilled guide, right, to positive change. So we're not trying to do everything at once.
Right.
But instead, it's like, okay, if we were to just pick 12 things, what would they be?
Exactly.
And we're pulling these from a really cool set of actionable strategies that we found.
Yeah.
So think of it like we did the homework.
Yes.
And now you get to reap the benefits.
Absolutely.
So our mission is to give you some really clear takeaways and starting points. So you can actually implement what resonates without feeling completely overwhelmed, like, oh my gosh, 12 things I have to do right now.
Yes. So we're going to cover a lot of ground here.
Yes, we are.
Everything from how you set your day up right in the morning to the power of moving your body, to how you think, who you surround yourself with, how you communicate, managing your finances, and even how your environment affects you.
Yeah, that's the really interesting part of it to me, I think. Yeah. So let's jump in right away with that first crucial part of the day.
Okay.
Waking up early and really taking ownership of your mornings.
You know, the central idea here, I think, is about being really proactive. Instead of just immediately reacting to the day, to the demands of the day, you kind of create a space for yourself first.
Yeah.
And what I think is really fascinating is how this one shift, how this intentional start to your day can shift your entire day's trajectory.
Yeah.
You gain this really valuable personal time before those external pressures can take over.
Exactly. And, think about it this way. What often gets squeezed out when your day gets crazy?
Yeah.
It's usually things like, maybe it's exercise. Maybe it's that chance to actually sit and read or even just have 5 minutes of quiet,
Yeah.
So starting earlier carves out that space for you. And it's not just about having the time, it's also about the feeling of control.
Yeah.
The source material gives some really smart ways to make this actually happen.
Yeah.
Like that suggestion about gradually adjusting your bedtime by just 15 minutes at a time.
Yep.
That just feels so much more realistic.
Yes.
Than trying to suddenly become, a morning person if you're not.
Absolutely.
And the reminder to ditch the screens before bed.
Oh, yeah.
We all know we should be doing that.
Yes.
But framing it as a key to a better morning really reinforces it, I think.
Totally.
And then there's the 5-second rule.
Right.
That little mental prompt to just get moving.
Yeah.
It seems simple, but it's really about breaking that initial inertia and putting you in charge of your actions from the get-go.
That sense of agency, I think, is so important. And if we kind of connect this to the bigger picture,
Yeah.
taking that proactive stance in the morning, I think, can create this ripple effect.
Yeah.
Throughout your entire day, it's a small victory, but it really builds momentum. And those incremental adjustments, like even just shifting your bedtime slightly, those are way more likely to stick than these huge, drastic changes. That 5-second rule is a perfect example, I think, of how a simple behavioral technique can help bypass procrastination.
That's so true. All right, let's move on to something that we all know is good for us, but can be a hurdle sometimes.
Go.
Daily exercise,
Yeah.
even if it's just for 10 minutes.
Yeah.
The source material that we're pulling this from really emphasizes that this is about so much more than just physical appearance.
Oh, absolutely. While physical benefits are obviously very well documented.
Yeah.
What's particularly interesting, I think, in what we're looking at here is this real focus on the mental and emotional rewards.
Yeah.
That release of endorphins, I mean, it actually has a tangible effect on your mood and beyond just that.
Yeah.
The source material highlights, improvements in mental clarity, increased energy levels that can last throughout the day, better sleep, and a significant reduction in stress. So it's this truly holistic boost.
I love that. And what I think is so great is that, it doesn't have to be some grueling workout.
Right.
The source suggests some really accessible starting points.
Yeah.
Like a brisk 10-minute walk after you eat, or those quick little home workout routines that you can find on, apps like Nike Training Club, or even just YouTube.
Absolutely.
So it removes that barrier of thinking, oh my gosh, I have to go to the gym for an hour.
Yeah.
It's really about that cumulative effect.
Absolutely.
As the source points out, those small, consistent bursts of activity really do add up and make a difference.
And that low barrier to entry, I think, is key for building a sustainable habit.
Yeah.
When you tell yourself it's just 10 minutes,
Yeah.
it's so much easier to overcome that initial resistance, and that consistency then really lays the groundwork to potentially incorporate more activity as you kind of start experiencing those benefits.
That's so true. Okay, next up is something that I am personally a huge believer in.
Okay.
reading more, and generally keeping your mind engaged in learning.
Yeah.
The source material that we're pulling this from positions reading as a very common habit among successful individuals, which I thought was really interesting.
Yeah, what I think is really fascinating here is how the source links reading to these tangible benefits, like expanding your knowledge base, sharpening your focus, and even sparking creativity. It elevates reading beyond just being a leisure activity and into this vital tool for your own personal and professional development.
It's like actively feeding your mind.
Absolutely.
And they give some really helpful starting points too.
Yeah.
Like suggesting specific categories like self-improvement with Atomic Habits, business and finance with Rich Dad Poor Dad, and psychology, and mindset with mindset. And having those specific examples can make the idea of reading more feel less abstract.
Right.
Plus, they give these actionable tips like setting a small daily page goal, using audiobooks when you're commuting or working out, and consciously choosing reading over endlessly scrolling social media.
That's a good one.
That one really resonates with me.
Yeah, me too.
Even just 15 minutes of focused reading instead of passively scrolling can lead to significant knowledge gains over time.
It's like compound interest for your mind.
That's such a good way to put it.
It's about being deliberate with your attention. By consciously choosing to engage with a book, instead of just passively consuming social media, you're really making an investment in your cognitive growth.
Yeah.
And those suggested titles offer such a strong foundation for exploring through crucial areas of self-improvement.
Now, this next point that we're going to talk about kind of delves into how we approach challenges.
Okay.
It's developing a growth mindset.
Yes.
The source material does a great job of outlining the difference between a growth mindset and a fixed mindset. Could you maybe elaborate on that a little bit?
Certainly, the core difference really lies in your underlying beliefs about your abilities.
Okay.
A fixed mindset assumes that your intelligence, your talents, your capabilities are largely inherent and unchangeable. You either have them or you don't.
Okay.
The example that's provided, I'm just not good at this, perfectly encapsulates this belief.
Yeah.
Conversely, a growth mindset operates on the belief that your abilities can be developed.
Yeah.
They can be enhanced through dedication, effort, and learning from setbacks. The counterexample, I can improve with practice, really embodies this conviction in your potential for growth and development. And interestingly, research by Carol Dweck has shown that praising effort rather than just innate talent actually fosters a growth mindset.
Yeah.
And it leads to greater resilience and motivation.
That's a huge distinction. And they give some really concrete ways to cultivate that growth mindset. Yeah. That idea of reframing failures as learning opportunities.
Yeah.
That's huge. Instead of seeing a setback as confirmation of your limitations, you view it as valuable feedback that helps you improve.
Totally.
And challenging that negative self-talk, swapping those I can't statements for I'll try.
Yes.
It's a subtle linguistic shift, but it can have a really profound impact on your self-belief.
Absolutely.
And the idea of surrounding yourself with other growth-oriented individuals, their belief in your potential can be contagious.
What I think is really empowering about a growth mindset is that sense of agency. It provides you become the architect of your own development. Believing in your capacity to learn and evolve makes you far more likely to persevere through difficulties and ultimately achieve more than you ever thought possible.
Okay, let's talk about the people we spend time with.
Right.
The source material makes a really compelling point about how our environment influences our motivation and our overall well-being.
Oh, it's something we all know, I think instinctively, but it bears repeating.
Absolutely.
Our social surroundings can have a significant and often unconscious impact on our mindset, our habits, and ultimately our life trajectory.
Yeah.
As the source rightly points out, negativity can be incredibly draining and it can stifle our progress. Conversely, being in the company of positive, supportive individuals, that can be such a powerful source of encouragement and inspiration.
Totally. And they offer really practical steps for building that positive circle.
Yeah.
Consciously creating some distance from relationships that just feel toxic. That can be a difficult but crucial step for your own mental health.
Yeah.
Actively seeking out mentors or communities that inspire you and align with your goals, that's a proactive way to foster growth. And simply choosing to prioritize friendships with people who genuinely believe in you and support your progress.
Yes.
That foundation of encouragement is just invaluable.
Absolutely.
They say you become like the people you associate with most.
Yes, they do.
So choosing wisely really matters.
This really underscores the importance of being intentional, not just with your time, but also your relationships.
Yeah.
Just as you carefully consider other aspects of your life, consciously selecting the people you surround yourself with
Yeah.
can have a really profound and lasting impact on your personal development and your overall happiness.
Now let's move on to a skill that touches practically every facet of our lives: communication. The source highlights its wide-ranging applicability in our relationships, our careers, just our day-to-day interactions.
Right? Effective communication.
Yeah.
Truly a cornerstone of a fulfilling and successful life.
Yeah.
The source touches on several key aspects for improvement.
Okay.
The critical importance of active listening,
Yeah.
which involves fully concentrating on and understanding what others are saying, perhaps even paraphrasing to make sure that you're clear on what they mean.
Yeah.
Clear and confident speaking, and the ability to express your thoughts and feelings authentically and respectfully without fear of judgment.
When you really think about it,
Yeah,
stronger communication skills really open up opportunities.
you do.
The source material links it directly to expanded possibilities.
Yeah.
And it's easy to see why, being able to articulate your ideas clearly and persuasively, to build rapport with others, and to navigate conversations effectively, these are highly valued skills in just about any context.
Precisely strong communication fosters better understanding. It minimizes misunderstandings, and it builds stronger, more meaningful connections with others, both in your personal and your professional life.
All right, let's talk about having a sense of direction in life.
Okay.
The source material emphasizes the importance of setting clear goals to provide that crucial sense of purpose,
Yeah.
and to prevent us from just drifting along without intention.
Goals act as a compass for your aspirations. Without them, it's easy to feel this lack of focus or a sense of being unproductive.
Yeah.
The source introduces the SMART goal framework,
Okay.
which is a really practical tool for ensuring your goals are specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. So, for example, instead of a vague goal like get in shape,
Yeah.
a SMART goal would be lose 5 pounds by the end of next month by exercising 3 times a week and reducing sugary drinks.
Okay.
This really provides clarity and a roadmap for action.
And breaking down those big goals into smaller, manageable daily actions is so critical too. It makes those seemingly overwhelming aspirations feel much more attainable.
Absolutely.
And the advice to track your progress and acknowledge those small wins along the way, that's a great way to stay motivated and build momentum.
Yeah.
It's all about taking consistent incremental steps toward what you want to achieve.
That feeling of making progress is essential for maintaining motivation.
Yeah.
And reinforcing those positive behaviors, recognizing and celebrating those smaller milestones provides encouragement and a tangible sense of accomplishment. Keeps you moving forward.
Okay. Next up, a topic that can sometimes feel daunting but is so fundamental to our overall well-being: mastering your finances.
Yes.
The source material frames financial stability not just as having money, but as a real source of freedom and peace of mind.
Financial well-being is inextricably linked to reduced stress and a greater sense of control over your life choices. The source outlines some foundational steps for improvement.
Okay.
Diligently tracking your expenses and creating a budget.
Yeah. Understanding exactly where your money is going is the essential first step.
Yeah.
Then the advice to consistently save a portion of your income, aim for at least 10%, lays a really crucial groundwork for future security.
Yeah.
And finally, exploring the world of investing and potential passive income streams. This opens up possibilities for long-term financial growth.
Yeah.
And it's worth noting here the power of compound interest.
Yes.
Even small, consistent investments can grow significantly over time.
It does tie back to that feeling of control we talked about earlier, doesn't it?
It does.
When you feel like you have a good understanding of your finances, it alleviates so much underlying anxiety.
Absolutely.
They even say money management is life management.
Yeah, I love that.
That's a really insightful statement.
It highlights the interconnectedness of the various aspects of your life. Financial stability provides that bedrock of security that can positively influence your relationships, your career decisions, your overall sense of well-being. Okay, let's shift to something that can have a really profound impact on our daily happiness: cultivating gratitude and positivity.
Yeah.
The source material positions gratitude as like a direct route to greater happiness by simply focusing on and appreciating the good things that you already have.
That's right. Gratitude involves intentionally shifting your focus
Yeah.
from what you might lack to the abundance of what you already possess.
Yeah.
The source suggests some really practical daily exercises.
Yeah.
Making a conscious effort to write down 3 things you're grateful for each morning.
Yeah.
That's a simple yet remarkably effective way to cultivate this mindset.
Yeah.
Actively trying to reframe problems as opportunities for finding solutions. That's another key aspect of fostering positivity and expressing appreciation to others.
Yeah.
Not only brightens their day,
Yeah.
but it reinforces your own feelings of thankfulness.
It's amazing how such small intentional actions can really reshape your perspective. They wisely state gratitude makes life richer. And I wholeheartedly agree with that.
Yeah.
It's about finding joy in those everyday moments and not taking those good things for granted.
Cultivating a consistent practice of gratitude has been linked to increased feelings of happiness, greater optimism, and enhanced resilience when facing challenges.
Yeah.
So it's a really powerful tool for improving your overall quality of life.
Okay, next up is something we all require but often push to the bottom of the priority list. Taking regular breaks and prioritizing sufficient rest.
Yes.
The source material challenges that idea that constant work equals maximum productivity.
Right.
And emphasizes the absolutely vital role that rest plays.
That common belief that relentless work is the key to high achievement is often a misconception.
Yeah.
Rest isn't a luxury to be indulged in when time allows. It's a fundamental necessity
Yeah.
for optimal performance, both mentally and physically. The source suggests several effective strategies for incorporating rest.
Okay.
Taking short, regular breaks throughout your work periods, perhaps utilizing the Pomodoro technique. Ensuring that you're consistently getting adequate sleep, generally around 7 to 8 hours for most adults. And incorporating relaxation techniques like mindfulness meditation or deep breathing exercises to manage those stress levels.
It makes perfect sense when you really think about it.
Yeah.
You can't expect to perform at your best if you're constantly running on fumes.
Yeah, you're gonna burn out.
Proper rest allows both your body and your mind to recharge and recover,
Absolutely.
leading to sharper focus, improved decision-making abilities, and overall enhanced performance.
Yeah.
Resting well makes you perform better.
Adequate rest and strategic breaks are crucial for preventing burnout,
Yeah.
improving cognitive functions like memory and concentration, and fostering creativity.
Yeah.
It's really about working smarter, not harder.
That's so true. Okay, let's turn our attention to our surroundings.
Okay.
The source material explores the often underestimated connection between clutter, both the physical stuff around us and our digital environment,
Right.
and our overall mental clarity.
There's a significant interplay between our external environment
Yeah.
and our internal state.
Totally.
Physical clutter can be so visually distracting, it's mentally taxing, and it can even contribute to feelings of stress.
Yeah.
The source offers practical advice for decluttering. Systematically tidying your physical spaces like your workspace, your home.
Yeah.
Intentionally curating your digital spaces. Unfollowing social media accounts that evoke negativity.
Oh, yeah.
And organizing your digital files to reduce that sense of digital overwhelm that I think so many of us experience.
I can definitely attest to that a clean, organized physical space just feels calmer.
Absolutely.
And more conducive to focused work.
Yeah.
And the idea of intentionally decluttering your digital life. You know, unfollowing accounts that consistently leave you feeling drained.
Yeah.
Or finally organizing those countless files on your computer.
Yes.
Can really free up valuable mental bandwidth.
Absolutely.
Less mess equals more mental clarity.
Yeah. Decluttering in all its forms effectively reduces distraction, and it creates this more peaceful, ordered, and focused environment, which in turn allows for greater mental clarity, improved concentration, and increased productivity.
And finally, the last of these 12 impactful strategies,
Okay.
the act of giving back and practicing kindness.
Yeah.
The source material highlights these reciprocal benefits that helping others can have on our own sense of well-being.
Engaging in acts of kindness and generosity has been consistently shown to have a positive impact on our own happiness and overall well-being.
It's pretty incredible.
The source suggests various ways to contribute.
Okay.
Volunteering your time to acts causes you care about donating to organizations whose missions resonate with you, performing small, everyday acts of kindness in your interactions with others, and consciously practicing patience and understanding in your relationships.
Yeah, it's that wonderful paradox, isn't it?
Yeah.
When you shift your focus outward and contribute to the well-being of others, it somehow enriches your own life in return. They say the more you give, the more you grow. And I think that really speaks to the profound power of compassion and human connection.
Absolutely. Acts of kindness foster a stronger sense of purpose,
Yeah.
deeper connection with others, and increased empathy, all of which are essential ingredients
Yeah.
for a more fulfilling and meaningful life.
So there you have it, a comprehensive deep dive into 12 distinct yet interconnected pathways for improving your life, drawing from a really insightful set of suggestions.
It's at a broad spectrum, from those personal habits that we cultivate, in the quiet of the morning, to the way that we engage with our communities and the world around us.
What's interesting to think about is how these different areas can even influence one another.
Yes.
For instance, cultivating a growth mindset might make you more resilient.
Absolutely.
When you're facing financial challenges or prioritizing rest.
Yeah.
But enhance your communication skills by improving your focus and your patience. So this kind of raises a question for you, listener.
Yeah. What do you think, as we've gone through these 12, which one or two really stood out to you? Which area feels like it could be the most impactful and perhaps the easiest starting point for you to focus on in your life right now?
It's definitely not about trying to overhaul every aspect of your life all at once.
Wow.
Instead, think of these as individual doors that you can choose to open.
Yeah.
Maybe the idea of taking ownership of your mornings resonated with you. Or perhaps it's that call to cultivate more gratitude in your daily life.
Right.
Wherever you felt that initial spark of recognition or interest.
Yeah.
That could be a fantastic place to begin. Consider these 12 suggestions not as a rigid checklist of things that you must do, but as a menu of possibilities. Those initial steps on this continuous journey of self-discovery and growth, and ultimately a more fulfilling life.
Absolutely.
So that's it for this deep dive.
I hope you enjoyed it.
I hope you got something out of it.
Me too.
And we'll see you next time.
See you later.
Bye.